I studied migration. So I remember in class there was always a push and pull factor in why people choose to move where they move.
I am in LA at this moment because I relocated for a job. That's the short answer.
I live in Tokyo because I didn't want to live in New York anymore. And I wasn't ready to move to California and make a family.
Well, there's a couple different parts to that. I live in LA because I like change. I wanted to feel something different. I wanted my career to grow. I wanted my life to grow. I wanted success. I live in this apartment because I've always dreamed of living in a loft apartment, and I feel super blessed that I get to live in a loft apartment. And I specifically live where I live in California, in Hollywood, because it was convenient for accessibility to where I wanted to be creatively and for where I wanted to be socially.
So in my case, I was definitely both pushed and pulled at the same time. I was living in New York and finishing my master's, and I couldn't find a job. There was no way I could afford to live in that city, even though I really wanted to, without a job that paid me enough money. So that was pushing me out of where I currently was. And then my family lives here. I have my parents and my sister lives here. So I just had a cheap place to stay for a while until I found my feet again. And I ended up finding a job that I love. It was just going to be a temporary thing, and it turned into exactly what I was looking for.
My father was from this area, moved out of when Jamie and I first got married, we moved south. We wanted to find somewhere warmer climate. We ended up moving to North Carolina for a couple years, and then when Brady was born, we decided to move back here to be close to family, and so we've been in this area ever since.
I live in Jersey right now because of the coronavirus, and I'm living with my girlfriend in Jersey City, and I have an apartment in Brooklyn because I always loved Brooklyn since I watched Crooklyn since I was a kid, and I love being in Brooklyn.
I think I always wanted to move to New York. I think it was always like a dream of mine.
I'm very comfortable where I'm at in New York City, specifically Spanish Harlem for right now. I feel like I am around a community of people who have accepted me into the neighborhood, but also they don't really bother me all that much. So it's like I can kind of come and go as I please and not, be harassed while I'm walking down the street by men and whatnot. It's peaceful, but it's lively, and I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of myself a lot.
I normally live in Tokyo. I moved there when I was 21, and so that's where I've always been. Just had a chance to go there and ended up falling in love with it. I am where I am right now because of the virus, and I haven't been able to return back due to the flight restrictions and immigration issues. So right now I'm currently in Nebraska waiting.
It's so funny because right before COVID happened, I was moving. I was literally looking at places and talking with the building about leaving. And then this happened, and I was like, I can't leave. And so I had to be here because it just felt like this is the best way to survive right now, is by being here.
I thought a lot about going home and being with either of my parents. And as things got worse and worse, I think that this just was like sort of the best option to sort of like hunker down and be
Unfortunately, but fortunately, space is much better for my mental health than being at my parents'. And then also, I did not want to worry myself and my family by visiting any other place.
I have a good support network here. My family, I have really good friends here. And I felt like I had all the support that I needed at this time. I also really like living close to where I work. So it just makes me feel close to the work that I do.
I felt that it was important for me to just kind of stick to it and write it out and see what happens. You know, I've wanted to be here for so long, and especially like in this space, I'm in my own place. I have plants that I need to tend to, you know, I couldn't leave them, and I didn't want to leave my space, and I didn't want to leave my city. You know, I've worked very hard to be here, and I just didn't feel like because something very tragic was happening in the midst of where I live, that meant that I should leave.
I was living in San Francisco right before, or when quarantine happened, and all of a sudden, this apartment that I really enjoyed spending time in became my 24-hour place, and I never left. And my 3 other roommates also never left, and so it became extremely claustrophobic. And I realized that the city had nothing to offer. When everything was closed, I couldn't even see my friends because people were social distancing. So I decided to take advantage of the time that we're living in, and I got a couple of friends together who felt the same way. And we started looking for, we thought we could find a mansion somewhere out in the wilderness because, you know, you couldn't fill Airbnbs. Airbnbs weren't even allowed unless it was a multi-month thing. So we started looking for places to rent out in the wilderness, in the forest primarily, either in Tahoe or Oregon. And we found this place that I'm in now, which is in Truckee, California, right next to Lake Tahoe up in the forest. And it is so beautiful, and it's such an improvement to city life, because I can, you know, when I want to break from work, I just walk out into the forest, which is in my backyard. And it really gives you some perspective on life. It's very calm. Nature is very calming. So I think, especially right now, it's exactly what I need. And it's actually starting to change the way that I think about what type of an environment I want to live in the long term. Because I always thought of myself as a city person. But this experience has shown me that life in a rural kind of natural place is actually in a lot of ways better than the urban lifestyle.
So I'm not with anyone. I mean, do you really want me to answer this?
Why am I single? It's a question I ask myself every day. I'm
in between, I believe, because I've been having a visa issue. I live with my girlfriend in Tokyo, but we've been apart for so long, it has become a bit strained. But I guess right now I'm in a relationship out of, I guess, our economic situation where we share a place, and she is watching my dogs.
I guess the reasons I am with Jamie is because I fell in love with her many years ago, 34 years ago, and we've always been very compatible, and you know, and have been in love, and you know, and raised our kids together, and decided that was the best thing for both of us. So yeah, and that's I guess love explains it all.
I think I've always wanted to be with someone that I felt that I could learn from, and who I felt made me try to be a better person. And I feel like the person I'm with has those two qualities.
Because they provide security and safety and make me feel wanted and accepted and comfortable and loved, and are a great reminder that I'm more than I think I am sometimes.
I believe that the reason I am single is because there are still a lot of things that I need to process about my childhood and about trauma in order for me to really be open to a love that I deserve, that I believe I deserve.
I really haven't been looking. I have a tendency to be a bit of a loner, and when I do find someone that I really like, I latch on to it. And the last time I was in that kind of a situation, it just didn't work out, and I've just been by myself since.
Early on in my life, I was with a lady that I thought that I really liked at the time, and it was only when I broke up with her later that I realized that I actually was very much in love with her. And at that point, it was too late to try to get back together, which I did try. But so I feel like I know what that feeling is like. I know what that feeling feels like. And so I think that's also part of the reason why I'm still single, is because I'm basically chasing that same feeling, and I don't want to settle for a relationship that's great. I've certainly had a lot of great ones, but I don't want to settle for one that's great but not perfect.
I first fell in love in high school, and it ended poorly, partially on my part. And so I was scared that I wouldn't find love again, but I also knew being 19 or 20, I probably would. And then I did.
I think different people in my life have taught me different aspects of love, and I've learned from them about what I'm looking for.
If you, like with Jamie, if there were points when we first started dating and I started spending more and more time with her, and the times that I was away from her, I just missed her more. So I recognized that that was she was my calling in my life.
I view love in a very curious, aware way, but I feel like sometimes I really just want to be swept away by it. But the awareness and the curiosity comes from the way I was shown love as a child. And I think that's the hopeless romantic in me, and this person that wants to be in love and be loved comes from a place of knowing that actually does exist, even though I wasn't shown that growing up.
The way my family loved me was abundantly, but not loudly, maybe, or not with a lot of obvious demonstrations of love.
I don't know. I guess I'm just not. I don't have a lot of experience seeing it. Yeah. My parents divorced. Everyone I stayed with during their divorce is now divorced. I really haven't seen a lot of happy relationships, so I don't really know how to comment on love.
I think I look at love the way that I do because of my parents. I've watched their love my whole entire life. They just celebrated their 34th anniversary literally a few weeks ago. And, you know, just growing up and watching the care they have for one another and the affection, but also like the ability to give one another space and not be intimidated by that or get upset by that. You know, they both knew when it was necessary to just kind of like leave the other one alone. They respected that about one another and each other's ideas and desires and things that they wanted to do for themselves individually. And I think that was a huge influence on me. And just kind of watching the two of them together, it gave me kind of like an idea of what I would want for myself in terms of love.
I, for such a long time, imagined everything was a perfection or a fantasy. And I think sometimes I'm way too connected with reality and at the same time way too disconnected with reality. And I believe in magic. I believe in providing joy to others, whether it's safe or not, appropriate or not. I believe so much in feeling like it's my responsibility to give so much to another person.
I'm someone who's really caring and loyal, but maybe not the most affectionate at times. And again, I think it's because of things you see or you saw at a really young age, and you sort of end up embodying that even if you don't want to.
Just because I feel like I'd never seen it when I was a kid, like actual true love in movies. And so I kind of always wanted it. And now that I do have it, I understand it a lot deeper. And I understand that also love is work.
I think intimacy is a place where we show our scars. So I think it looks like that because of all of the ways where I've been intimate before and have been hurt because of it or been rewarded because of it.
Because my parents were not very intimate with me. In relationships, I wanted something not in the same pattern of how they treated me or even how they were with each other in front of me. But going to therapy, I learned intimacy is being wrong and identifying your feelings and communicating them.
You know, intimacy is like vulnerability and being okay to show yourself. And the moments in which I have been intimate with somebody, it's taken so much for me to get there. I think it looks hard just because I'm just generally a little bit more closed off, you know, walls up and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to even like understand what my intimacy looks like because there's been very few instances where I've been willing to be intimate with another person on that level.
I balance between knowing how to receive and give happiness and then being so afraid of happiness and stability. So I teeter between pure bliss and total fear. I don't know. I think I'm figuring it out. But I know I'm really good at intimacy, and sometimes I think, like anything else, when you think about something too much and want something to be a certain way, you start getting past the positives and start looking for negatives and looking for faults.
Due to my disability, it's an intimacy that is defined by being disabled and having a disability. But it is being able to just being around each other, and it doesn't have to be your typical intimacy of having sex. It can be an intimacy of just being around each other and spending time together.
I, at the moment, don't have a partner. I don't have at least intimacy between a romantic and a romantic type of sense. I think something that I've never explored, that I think this question has just brought up, is there such a thing as intimacy between yourself? And maybe there is, but I think I've always looked at intimacy as something more in a romantic sense. And since that is what I know, I think intimacy right now is really non-existent. But when it is existent, it's very much this excitement to just be with someone, whether that even is being still with someone or touching someone or listening to someone, like really listening without you putting yourself in the words that they're saying. I think that is intimacy, even though it's not really present at the moment.
After my accident, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what my capabilities were. I didn't know what I was truly going to be able to do or be good at. And I just guess I figured it out over time that I was good at business, and I had spent a lot of times in and out of different hospitals, and started to think to myself, boy, when I'd be somewhere, I'd analyze it a little bit and think, if I was running this hospital, I'd do this differently, or this should be done differently, and just kind of look at things from that perspective. So that kind of directed me or guided me to say, maybe this is going into like healthcare administration would be a good profession for me.
So I think for me, working in interior design has really beautifully tied all of my interests in perfectly. It just kind of takes different little parts of myself, I think, and exercises those. I think a huge component is getting to know people and solving problems in their lives, which I really like. I also have like an outlet for being creative, and there's like a strong business side to it. So I think for me, it kind of is like a full package.
So I've spent a lot of time doing things that I did not enjoy. It was just a way to A, put money, earn money, and B, try to build a career, or whatever that means. In retrospect, doing something you don't like to build a career is probably not the right way to go. But anyway, I finally got to the point in my life a couple years ago where I was really enjoying what I was doing for work. And that was a pretty pivotal moment for me. Took a while to get there. One of the things that I really like about it is that it has if we are successful, we have a real chance to make an impact in people's lives. which is obviously, pretty meaningful. And without getting too much into the details, we're trying to make it easier for people to send money internationally. So a migrant worker sending money to their loved ones back home, for example. And if we can make that easier and cheaper for them, that really makes a big difference at scale.
I think I've always felt a responsibility to do something that both helped other people, but also aligning my work with my values is very, very important to me. So I looked for those two things in my profession, in my career. And I think the fact that a lot of the members of my family work in education pushed me towards that particular space.
Education is powerful. I think education is empowering. Young people often don't really feel empowered until maybe they leave home and go to college, and maybe it's the first time they've ever had to be independent and really reflect on who they are and who they want to be. So educators can help young people think about those bigger questions before, at any point in their growth. It's never too early to think about who you are and how you want to be known and what you care about and what you find to be important in the world.
I do what I do for a living because it's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a journalist. I always wanted to write. I've been writing from the moment that I could pick up a pen. One of my greatest achievements was learning how to read, simply because that meant that I could write. And I love the news. I love knowing what's going on in the world and in my state and country, and what's going on in culture and entertainment. I do what I do because I don't know what else I would do if I wasn't doing this.
I do it because it's fun. It doesn't make a lot of cash. I currently freelance doing photography. I write for various websites, do a lot of creative projects with copywriting and film production. But I do it because it's what I like doing. I like expressing myself. And I like that work doesn't feel like work, and I don't like working for others.
I think especially these past couple of years, everything that I've created or I've wanted to create or in the process of creating are very much tied to me, my culture, my family, my thinking of love, my beliefs. So it almost feels like the reason I create is almost, it feeds me. So I used to be very much tied to this fear of just being a writer or just being a journalist or only covering like rap and R&B. And that scared me for a little while, where I'm just like, is that all I'm going to be? Am I only just going to write? And now I'm very much leaning into, I am just doing every creative thing that does not let me sleep at night because I want to do it so badly.
I do what I do for a living because it's the one thing in my life that I'm the most confident about. Being a creative, being an artist, creating strong, beautiful, rich, inspiring, entertaining visual things. It's the one thing in my life that I don't question. It's the one thing in my life that I know my sensibility is really strong and my decisions are complete and complex and matter. And it just makes me happy. And it's the purest thing I do. It really is. It's the one thing that I don't ever have to worry about. And I know it's the one, and honestly, it's something I've always wanted to do, but I was unwilling and not comfortable with myself to be fully expressive for a really long time. And I wasted a lot of years not being creative and not being expressive and not being an artist. And one day I was willing to embrace that, and I felt happy and free and felt sure of myself when I usually didn't. And that's why I do what I do.
I feel like your vocation is kind of like a relationship that you have to continue to choose to fall in love with and nurture and devote your time to.
I feel like there's always like plan Bs, and there's always second dreams. I feel like you shouldn't just allow yourself to have one dream. I feel like you can live in many dreams all at once.
I have not quite yet figured out what else it is that I want to do. Or no, I know what I want to do. I guess it's just I haven't quite figured out how to do the other thing that I want to do.
I don't know that I want to keep doing it.
There are other things outside of creating that I want to do, but I think creating is just kind of who I've always been. So it doesn't really seem like an option to opt out of being who I am.
I want to keep doing this because it makes me happy, and because it makes me full. It makes me feel like I'm okay with me. It's my purest expression of love, and it really shows other people what I am and why I am, and also where I am in life.
I think I see in my work ways in which I am developing, but also ways in which I can see the effects of my work.
I think we're at a really interesting point in the company's development. I would say it's an inflection point because we're starting to gain a lot of steam. It's starting to become easier to ink new deals and strike new partnerships with bigger and bigger companies, and that's a really exciting place to be in a company's trajectory. And so, I feel like I play a big part in that, and I want to be there for the next couple of years as we take advantage of this momentum that we have right now.
It gives me a vicarious satisfaction to be able to help other people that might have problems similar to mine, maybe less than mine, but physical, ailments, injuries, disabilities. So I like doing it because of that, and it makes me feel good to know that the work that I'm doing is truly benefiting other people.
That's my singular motivation. It's just like, I think it's just very early. It was just like, I just love making dope things and then seeing that come to life. But the purpose of doing that is to inspire the kid versions of you that's somewhere that needs to see this. And I just felt like that's my purpose. That's what I should be doing. And I'm going to be doing it for a long time.
The world is ending, Dan. That is why I worry. I worry because I don't have control, right? Like the things that I worry are the things that I worry about are the things that I can't control. There are things that I can control that I worry about, but I tend to sort those out in therapy and do something about them eventually. But as far as like why I worry, I think it's because I'm trying to avoid pain and avoid those I love to feel pain. But majority of what I worry about, I actually can't control.
I worry about my health. I worry about, continuing to be on this earth long enough that that my family will be, they'll be fine without me someday.
I'm an only child, and my mom's an only child, which means that my grandma, who's the only grandparent I have left, basically only has two people in her life, which is me and my mom. And that's not a big support network for any of us, but certainly not for my grandma. And so she's getting older, and so that causes me some worrying for sure. And the fact that I'm further away now, I'm not that far, I'm only a couple hours, but still I don't see her. I used to see her every week. I'd go over for dinner every Monday. I'm not doing that anymore, and time is going by, and I often question whether what I'm doing right now is actually selfish or not.
I worry because I just feel like, am I running out of time? I think time is something that I'm constantly and thinking about. Time, it's scary. It's beautiful and it's scary because time, it's very much like 1 year you can have your life changed into something that you never imagined. And also you're 1 year closer to the end, because you just don't know how much time you have. And so I think I worry that, am I doing the best that I can while I'm still here?
I think I worry because I put a lot of pressure on myself to do right things well, to do the right thing always, to keep everyone's desires and expectations above my own.
I worry all the time, all day, about everything. And I hate it. And I don't know why I worry so much. I wish I didn't. I don't know why I worry. I worry because I don't want to feel like I wasted my life. I worry because I don't want people who matter to me to be disappointed in me. I worry because I don't feel like I'm accomplished enough or great enough or successful enough or good enough. And I say all these things, but the truth is, like, I don't know why. I don't know why I worry, but I do a lot.
I kind of can't remember a time where I didn't worry. And it seems like the things that I worry about can just be infinite. It can be like someone I pass by on the street, and it can just be a world collapse. It can, go from something so minute to like something so big.
It's rational to worry right now. I think with the economy contracting by a third, the police brutality here, the systematic racism, the climate change on the horizon, the extreme polarization in politics, there's a lot to worry about right now. So I think it would be crazy not to be worried about anything right now, or you're just in a really good place.
I worry because I don't think I worry because I worry that the entire history of humanity will be challenged in some major weather events influenced by climate change. I don't think my grandkids will be able to eat fish or play outside every day of the year or drink water from the tap.
I think as humans who have been able to control so much of their lives and their fate, we face different situations where we have a lack of control and we become anxious because we don't know how to control things that we care about.
I think that a lot of my anxiety, at least from what I've been feeling lately, has been very much worrisome and fearful thoughts of, what if this happens? Or what if I can't do this anymore? Or what if this person isn't here?
I have a lot of anxiety about this COVID disease because, I'm having hospitalized last year with, my lungs collapsing and having pneumonia through my chest. And almost passing away from that. I get anxious now that, if I were to become infected with COVID, that I wouldn't have the capacities to fight that off.
I get anxious when my expectations of myself, I think, won't meet other people's expectations. I get anxious when my perceived expectations someone else has for me are higher than what I'm able to deliver. I'm anxious about what other people think of me.
You want people to see the best of you, even though that's impossible. And so I get anxious because I want to make sure that my work is good, or just like I'm good, and make sure people, can see that. But a lot of that anxiousness comes from just overthinking.
I get anxious because I don't want to be a fuck up, and I don't want to waste the gifts that God gave me and my parents nourished in me, and that I've recognized and tried my best to cultivate. I'm anxious because I don't want to waste what's in front of me. I don't want to be a failure. I'm anxious because I want people to look at me and think I'm great.
There's a lot to be anxious about, and there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of extremism. There's just just a combination of a lot of issues that I think we've seen before in the past that is really just repeating itself.
The fact that I'm single at 33 is not it's not awesome. Sometimes that causes anxiety, but I also know that I'm a firm believer in the theory that everything will be okay. And so I very much subscribe to that idea.
I'm an optimist. I like to hope for the best because that's how I was raised. That's what I was taught. You know, I was raised to always have faith and keep the faith despite how rough the circumstances get. And it just feels better to be hopeful, you know? Like it feels good to have hope. And then in those moments when whatever it was you was hoping for happens, you just feel more secure with yourself. And even when those things don't happen, you still feel better because, you know, it could be much worse.
I get hopeful that that I have a strong faith with God that, you know, at the end, there's really what I consider to be another life that will be much better to me than this life. And I think that makes me hopeful.
I think that love makes me hopeful. I might not be so sure when it comes to romantic love, sure of someone loving me or sure of me loving someone, but I'm very much sure of love itself. And I'm very much sure of the love that I feel and receive from my family and from my friends. That is what gives me hope to take on the next day.
I think hoping is something that you can fall out of practice of doing. It's almost like dreaming. Hoping is a way to see a future that doesn't exist yet.
That's the most important thing in life. That's just super important for me. I tell people I'm an optimistic realist, so I see what the world it actually is, but I still dream about the world that it could be. It's just something that I felt like that's been me since I was a kid, just because of my upbringing. Like, you know, when you don't have anything, the only thing you can have is hope. And so the only thing you can do is just hope that you'll be better tomorrow or next week or next month. And so it's just something that stuck with me. And it's probably, I know I piss people off about it because I know I piss my girlfriend off about it. I'd be like, it's like, you'll be fine. Like, you always will be fine. It may seem bad now, but you'll be fine. And then you can always fix what you break when you're alive. So just have hope. I mean, that's just the essence of life.
There is so much good in the world. There's so many people who just want to like genuinely do nice things for other people and help each other. I've seen that a lot in New York, especially with all like the protests going on. I think I've seen just so much like goodness and so much hope from other people. It kind of is contagious. So
the world has the ability to be so beautiful and loving and kind, and we get caught off guard by these moments that require nothing other than people having a shared experience and optimism and love and kindness and support, and chasing that feeling is why I'm hopeful.
People are resilient. And right now, people are having maybe more time than they ever have in their adult lives to reflect on where they are and what they have and what they want. And I hope after the pandemic that people can practice empathy and play a part in contributing to community.
I am important. Wow. Why am I important? Am I important?
There's a real barrier for me to answer this question.
And I don't like that question.
Because I value myself and in the things that I do. My actions, I believe, make me important, if I could say I'm important.
I'm not important at all. I'm important to my family and my friends. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm just a speck, a blip.
I really hope that at some point in my life, I will have the opportunity to go into space and look back at the Earth and see it as a small blue marble, because I think that really puts things into perspective and shows you that it shows you how insignificant you really are. And I think I have a good appreciation for that already, not having been to space yet.
I am important because I have people who rely on me. You know, I have a family a mom, you know, who will call me just out of the blue because she knows I'm going to make her laugh. You know, I'm important because I have a nephew and a niece who need to see strong, like, examples of strong Black women outside of just, you know, their mom and the people that they're coming in contact with on a day-to-day basis. Variety is necessary. And I think that I embody a lot of that. I am important because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm alive.
I hope I'm important to my friends, that they see my caring and my concern for them, and from my employees, that my recognition of how important they are in my life and the success of my company.
I am important because I love, because I am love. I have this purpose to create these spaces of vulnerability for people in which they could be vulnerable about love, about how they feel. I think I'm important because of my purpose.
I think I can help. I just think it's real simple. I think I can help, and I can help people, and I can help the world, and I can help society, and I can help my friends. I think I can help. I just think I can just be of assistance. And I think I can help. I think that's real. I think that's my idea. I think that's my answer. I think I can help.
I think every single person has a story to tell. I'm one of those people. I have a unique perspective. I've had weird and strange experiences and lovely experiences, and I think that all culminates into a person with an importance.
I'm important because I'm a human being. Yeah, I don't think there's anything outside of that. I mean, everyone has the right to matter.
I'm important because I think I take up space on Earth. I have a family and I have friends. And I work and people are counting on me. People that don't know me. see me on the street. I don't know. Going where?
I'll leave it at that.
In life?
Because I still enjoy doing what I'm doing.
I have energy to do it.
Because I still have a lot to show and say.
I got a great partner. We have a lot to accomplish together.
There has to be more. There is more. More love, more joy, more moments to share with others, more learning of myself to do. There's so much more. That is why I keep going.
I keep going because why not? You know, yeah, life is hard, but life is fun. I'm having a good time. Even on the darkest days, it's still worth going because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. There's been so many instances in my life, like, yeah, yesterday was really trash, but then tomorrow comes and like, wow, it's great. What a time to be alive, you know? And I love those moments. I think that, you know, we don't know what will happen next, so why not keep going? I want to find out.
I want to see where my family goes. I want to make sure my family's good. I want to see where the future generations are. I want to see where Black people are in the future. I want to see where my friends are in the future. I just want to see how this thing goes. I want to hear the last song on the album. Like, it's just, I want to see it. I want to live. Just things I want to do. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want lots of money. I want beautiful things. I want to see it. I want to see everything. So I'll go until someone calls me. Then I go home.
I think that I have the ability to sort of put things into place. So I think the reason is just, I guess, a sense of hope.
There's a lot of ways that we can do something good in this world. And I've planted a lot of seeds in these last few years that I'm seeing them grow. That keeps me going.
I keep going because I believe in contributing to this world and trying to make something, being a part of something that's beautiful, that people can feel good about and people can say that's great, and that gives me motivation to keep going. You know, we all need to pay it forward. And I keep going because because we have to. You know, I keep going because I have the strength to keep going. Yeah.